Getting your website optimized is key in providing a great user experience and capturing as much search visibility as possible. If you're not optimizing your website, you're likely leaving money on the table. I'm Davey with Davey and Krista, and today I'm going to share with you 5 easy to implement SEO tips that will help you optimize your website and climb in the Google search results this year. Each of these tips are tips that you can implement today, even without a lot of technical know-how. And if you have questions about any of them, just drop those questions in the comments below. Tip number 1, keyword research. Yes, keywords have come a long way. Gone are the days of having to stuff keywords into articles or posts in order to get those articles or posts to rank. It's all about meeting searcher intent and creating great content. Fortunately for us, Google has come a long way in understanding related ideas and other topics or ideas or questions that somebody might want to answer that's related to whatever keyword you're trying to target. But just because Google is using keywords in a different way, this doesn't make keyword research obsolete. If anything, it makes keyword research more important than ever. It can help you identify topics, questions, and other related ideas that people are actually searching for on the web. And fortunately, there are so many tools out there that can help you with this, from paid tools like SEMrush and Moz to free tools like Ubersuggest, and there's plenty others across the web. If you're serious about getting a page or a post to rank, do not skip the keyword research step. I typically focus on 3 things when it comes to keyword research. First, search volume and difficulty. This lets me know that people are actually searching for content around this topic, and it gives me an idea of how difficult it's going to be to rank for that given search. 2, related keywords and searches. This gives me an idea of what kind of content I'd like to cover in the page or post that I'm creating. And 3, what's currently ranking for that search. Those websites are obviously doing something right, so I want to scope out their content and see what kinds of questions they're answering. Tip number 2, set page titles and meta descriptions. This is something that's super easy to do, yet so many people don't do it. But a good title and a good meta description can make it more likely that somebody clicks on your result in Google search result page. And yes, page titles have come a long way too. Google is actually rewriting page titles to better reflect what content is about, or if it feels like it can better serve the end user. So it's important that you pay attention to what you title your page. And if Google is rewriting your page result, I'm actually going to include a link to a free tool that you can use to check different pages to see whether Google is rewriting the title of that page. There's also a non-SEO benefit of adding page titles and meta descriptions because social media platforms like Facebook often use the page title and meta description you set in your SEO settings for a thumbnail in the newsfeed. And just because Google is rewriting page titles and meta descriptions doesn't necessarily make them any less important, but it does mean that some other on-page elements become that much more important. For instance, tip number 3, we want to make sure that we pay attention to our page structure and heading hierarchy. Your headings give people and search engines an idea of what kind of content is covered in your page or article. And a well-structured page can cover a lot of topics, making it more likely that that page or that post will show up for more than one search result. In WordPress and Showit, it's super easy to add heading tags. Typically, you're just highlighting a piece of text and adding that HTML tag, in this case, a heading tag. It's important that you only use one H1 per page. That's one heading 1 tag per page. You can use as many H2 and H3 tags as you want, but you want to make sure that they're organized correctly. When it comes to Showit, there are some page structure nuances that you want to pay attention to, especially when it comes to layering items on a page. We cover more of that in our Showit SEO course. But here's the gist. A well-structured page makes it easier for search engines like Google, and more importantly, your visitors, to understand and consume the content on your website. Tip number 4, and I think that this is going to be really important, especially as Google rolls out their next big update, the Google MUM update, implement schema markup on your website. Schema markup is structured data that search engines can easily understand and then use in their search results. For instance, if you've ever seen those star ratings under a Google search result, that's probably the work of schema markup. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. You can use schema markup for all sorts of things. This might sound fairly technical, but fortunately, tools like SEO Press and Rank Math make it really easy to implement schema markup on your website. And again, I think that schema markup is going to play an even bigger role in this next big Google update, the Google Mum update. Tip number 5, image optimization. Add descriptive file names and use alt text when adding images to your website. Descriptive file names and alt text in particular can help visually impaired website users understand what an image is about. But even more than that, it can help search engines understand what an image is about. This doesn't necessarily mean that you have to re-upload all your images with descriptive file names, but we would highly recommend taking the time to go through each of your images and add alt text. And just as important when it comes to image optimization is sizing images appropriately. And fortunately, if you stick around for just another minute, we have a whole video dedicated to how you can size images for the web so they both look good and don't slow down your website too much. Even if you just focus on these 5 on-page SEO tips, you'd probably be in pretty good SEO shape. But as you know, there's a lot more to SEO than just on-page optimization, more than we could cover in one video. We have website speed to talk about, and off-page optimization and link building. All of those things go into a well-optimized website. To learn more about optimizing your images, stick around for the next video. And if you're interested in learning more about SEO and you have a Showit website, check out our Showit SEO course. And if you have another tip to add, or you have a question about something we covered in this video, drop those in the comments below.